I'm drinking some sparkly water.
I'll admit that I just had you're not supposed to drink them, I guess, the Celsius energy drink, and now I'm drinking my good old 7 Up.
You mean your water? 7 Up is
Listen, we
like
don't start
7 Up is
recording
your
and
water.
you say
I
all
love
my secrets to the
that.
world. Yes, my water.
Your water, your 7 Up water. I love it. Let's do it. I like
You
the
know,
7 Up water.
there's been a shortage of the 7 Up bottles.
No.
It's me, and then I think I offended the guy because I was at the grocery store and I saw the 7 Up man, and I was like, I go, thank you for putting up 7 Up bottles. Like,
Yeah.
I go, why is it just me and all of the elderly people of the world like are fighting for the same like 4 bottles? I'm like, I said, is there a can shortage? What is happening? And he was like, everybody loves 7 Up. And I was like, you're right. Everybody does love 7 Up. I don't know why I put it in a category of Jennifer, and all of the elderly people of the world are the only ones that love 7 Up because it's much better than Sprite. He was like, it is much better than Sprite.
I love that he's standing by his brand. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I love about him. He's not just like, I deliver, I unload the truck, I'm part of the delivery service. He stands by his brand and he's like, I stand by 7 Up. And then I love that he's like, everybody loves 7 Up.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're right.
Yes.
Thank you for being so on it with your branding.
Hmm.
As a man who stands by his company.
Yeah, and he gave me a tip. He said that the
Hmm.
reason there's only 4 bottles out of 7 Up is because that's all that really can hold in the little shelving thing. So they only do 4 bottles at a time. So you can ask them to get some out of the back.
This is a pro tip.
But you have to be in your own worthiness to ask for, can I have the extra bottles of 7 Up that is in the back?
Yeah, and you have to have the time to do it. Like you have to be able to go. Like you can't be running short and be like, I got to be in and out of the store in 5 minutes. You got to be like, okay,
Hmm.
I know that as I walk up and down these aisles, I am going to need to ask for a couple more things. One of them is 7 Up. And
Yes.
then it's okay to say, how many do you got back there and how many do you feel comfortable giving? Four? Great. I'll take all four, please. And they're like, well, you don't need that many in a week. And you're like, buddy, you don't know.
That's
You
2 days.
really don't know.
I can drink a liter in a day.
It's delicious. I've decided this is what I've decided. So I was drinking I was loving life on those the what are those like liquid IVs? Loving it. I was drinking those as if they were my like they were like this is how I'm gonna get through the day. And then I was like, why do I have so much water retention? I was like, this is salt on crack. Like I was like, my hands feel fat. I'm having a hard time picking things up. And then I was like, how many liquid IVs have you had today? And I was like, hmm,
Mm.
only four. And I was like, that's too many. That's enough salt for the world. Like, I was walking around my little hands. I couldn't get my rings on. I was like, what's happening? Too much liquid IV. I loved the flavor so much. And if it got a little chunky, like I didn't mix it up all the way, no problem. I like those chunks.
I still drink them. I drink the watermelon salt LMNTs. They're delicious.
Yeah, but you don't drink like four a day.
No,
No,
I,
that's too many. Anything in excess is too much.
that's too much pure water for me.
It's too much, I tell you.
How was your
Oh,
week,
I
my
miss you.
friend?
I've been looking forward to this call all week. I'm so glad that we were like I told Kirk all day. I was like, I need yesterday I was like, I have a call with Jen
Hmm.
at 11. I was like, and he's like, so we'll do this. And I was like, yes, but I have this time. This is I even put it in my phone. You know, I have like a little like those at note page that's like, what do I call it? Like self time or self care. And I was like, what is your self care look like? Yeah. And I go, self worth self-care. And I was like, talk to my best friend. And I was like, we are putting it down. We are carving out this time. So I'm so glad.
Yes, I'm proud of us. I too was looking forward to this all week.
It's been a good, has it been a good week or has it been a challenging week? What kind of week has it been for you?
Well, it's always challenging. It's always challenging, but it was a balance of challenging and joy, which I
Okay.
and I did find that since our conversation last week that I navigated the challenges a lot easier. Like I was able to like kind of observe them outside.
I kept hearing your voice saying, yes, but what about you? You know what I mean? And I think like just to like go back, like we were talking about, like how we go, okay, so when are we living in a space of worrying, caring, being caretakers, making sure we're managing everybody else's space? And then like when are we going, what about us?
Mhm.
And so I observed in myself I also really like to worry about everybody else because then I don't have to be accountable.
Yes.
The ego can go, look at all of them. Thank goodness that's not us, right? And so I was like, it was part ego hustle this week and part of like, I could feel myself and I'd get wrapped up in it. And I was like, what is your deal? But I didn't have that until this morning. Like, till this morning, I was like, we are really having a lot of internal narratives about all these other people. And I was like, I was like, maybe I need to wear a bracelet that I snap or, you know what I mean? Like a rubber band that every time I do it. And then all of a sudden I was like watering the plants and I was like, oh, haha, I see you, ego. The ego is like, this is amazing. Let's worry about everybody else but Shannon.
Mhm.
So it's part caretaker, but part hustle.
Mhm.
Like I care about everybody, I worry about everybody, I want to take care of them, but also to if I can worry about all them, then I don't have to be accountable to me.
Yes.
It's sneaky.
It is sneaky. And
It's
then
sneaky.
tone that comes out is that self-criticism tone that has been triggering me all over the world and with myself.
Yeah, it's a sneaky one.
It is because when you don't have the answers, you tend to fill in the spaces, and then when you fill in the spaces, it tends to be with a self-critical tone
Yeah,
towards yourself of I don't know why we always have to be so incredibly hard on ourselves. We're not hard on anybody else as much as we are on ourselves. I've
that's
That's what I heard a lot this week throughout my conversations is still that, and it's probably because I'm so self-aware of it right now, but that is what I hear each conversation that I have with another woman or another person. It's always that self-critical.
you're being self-critical or both. Like you're observing they're being critical with themselves as well, and now you're starting to identify it.
Yes. And I hear it everywhere
Me
in
too.
little micro doses and then huge. I hear it everywhere. The amount of self-criticism just out there in general.
Yeah, I had a like just to share one where this I was talking to a coworker and I had said, I had a conversation, on our meeting this week. I was reflecting back, and I think maybe I might have said something that I don't know if it hurt your feelings or not. I'm just gonna say it. And she goes, I appreciate you saying this. I did hear it, but I'm too sensitive.
Mm.
And it was so tiny, right? That like I'm too sensitive. Go and then she went on. And then I was like, man, I'm too sensitive. It's just that little layer on the cake, right? That's like that just that little piece. that like is bitter. Like if you imagined like using a cake analogy, it's just like that bitterness of like she just put a little bit of bitter on the cake. It's like a gorgeous one. It's like, but I'm too sensitive. And I was like, right? How many times have you and I said that over the years of like, well, I'm very sensitive, or I'm too sensitive, or I don't, again, I don't deserve to be here because my voice doesn't matter because I'm too sensitive.
Mhm.
Probably I'm being too sensitive right now.
Yeah.
So that was an example of like catching it and not just being for her, but knowing that how many times have I done this, or you and I have done that where we're like, well, I'm very emotional.
Yes. I did it this week. I did it this week because something happened and then you know how I throw things with humor into yeah, I bet you're wondering how this blonde crazy lady even got this job. And then I was like, ah, that's self-critical Mrs. C right there. Mrs. C, who I call self-critical, coming right out and just playing it out. And what it was I was seeking external validation.
Mm,
If you boil down to it, I was seeking external validation because part of me wanted to say, "Oh, no, Jen, you're good at your job. Don't worry," right? It's that anytime that I seek outside validation externally instead of within myself, it always has that self-critical tone towards it that I'm starting to notice. That's crazy, isn't it?
it is. And I was thinking about just now as you were saying that, I was thinking about like how that starts, or like thinking back, like I think my mom or a dad or somebody in my life, a parent figure of some sort, was like, if you laugh at yourself first, then nobody else, it takes away their power. But what an interesting, like, weird twist on that. Like, you're like, so if you criticize yourself first and are the fastest, like, what is that saving you from? And then are you just being the first person to self criticize? You're like, great. So you beat everybody to the punch. You didn't. You you were the first. You're the first check mark on that self criticism, or that self-deprecating humor. So you're saving yourself. You're trying to do it as a survival technique, but then also too, you're the first one in line, as opposed to being like you know, you're the very first person in line.
It feels to me, and this is again in a self-critical tone, that it's like a desperate attempt at external validation. And I do that by playing myself down or like small.
Yeah.
I remember doing it when I was growing up, and I would hide things with, oh, you're just blonde. Like that was like a whole like blonde thing and then I would play it off. Like if it was something that, I wanted to manipulate or whatever and then get away with it, I was just like, oh, you know me, I'm just blonde. Like I start to play myself small or use it in certain ways. And I think it's kind of like uh, I throw it out there like that, it's kind of like that same kind of old strategy to get external validation.
Yeah.
That's what I always wanted my whole life. I think it hasn't been till like the past probably couple of years that I'm started like this journey, or even like the last year of realizing that it's not about external validation, that I've been seeking this whole, journey of my life. It's me validating myself, but I wasn't ever strong enough to validate myself. So when I reached out and did the bids for validation, they're always in a small voice or a small desperate, it feels desperate to me, which I know is a critical way of being hard on myself again. So that I don't know. I'm still like digging into it, but there's some kind of very thin line between uh the need for external validation and how I approach it, and then the self-criticism that comes on top of that because I know that's not the right way to fill the void or the validation within myself.
Balancing right now, like what you said of those, that that observation of self, like as we observe a behavior that we're starting to identify, or we're starting to wrap our arms around and start to go, okay, I've seen you. You seem familiar to me, pattern of behavior. I'm starting to recognize you. And I'm starting to recognize that you're showing up in these little bursts or big bursts of self criticism, or, you know, however that is. So your higher self, to me, is starting to wrap around. So you're not criticizing, but you're starting to get a handle and starting to observe a pattern of behavior that you're like, I am ready to move beyond this lesson. I'm ready to move beyond this point. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's so, to me, it's like, not to correct what you said, but to start to think about, yes, I'm starting to observe you and I'm starting to identify you. And then, I can maybe see it in somebody else, or I see it once or twice, but when you start to see it, like what you said, where you're like, I made this little joke. This joke I've made a million times in my life, something similar, some way of, and then everybody would go, oh, baby, you're so cute, or, oh, Jen, you're hilarious, or, oh my God, funny, or you're just so little, you're just so blonde, you're just so, and then you do it too. You don't notice it because it's happening so quickly. And then what I hear you say is that all of a sudden you're like, I saw a flash of you this week, and that would be something that you wouldn't normally have identified. Like you would have been like, no, I'm working on this. Oh, no, no, that's not part of that little flash where I go, I'm crazy, crazy me, me, I'm a little wonky, I do that all the time. And then not recognizing it's like, oh, I'm gonna pause right there. That's one of those little tiny hooks, one of those little tiny thorns that's going to cut you down.
Yes.
So that's what I'm seeing, is that you've identified bigger ones, but this week you went, haha, I see you, little hook. I see you, little snag. I see you showed up in the tiniest way, so quick, so fast, in one little sentence, so fast.
Yes, I'm hypersensitive to self-criticism. So I know when I go down this path and I do this choice and I reach for external validation, that I do it in a small way, and then self-criticism goes on top of that. But if I validate myself
Mhm.
and not inside and not worry about that, then self-criticism is not so apparent. But I'm hearing that same pattern with women in every conversation that I have. And so it's like self-criticism, guilt wound, this, here, all over. Then I want to start
Well,
correcting them
well,
all
like,
and
yeah,
over
like,
coaching everybody.
yes, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Onto this, or da 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 da, and it's just popping up, and it's like, okay, if
And then
these
I
were
start to
like
get
bursts of
angry.
light, we,
Yes. And then my whip energy and my aunt energy comes out, and I'm like, that is your self-critical voice. You need to not do that. Here's what you got to do. And then I'll hear it over here. And then I'm like, no. So then I'm like, now you look like angry Smurf going around just yelling at self-criticism all the time. So then that patience test comes in. So Mahoney, you're going to laugh at this. So you know, the damn patience test. But I will say during work, speaking of external validation, I'm about to tell you how proud I was for getting external validation in this same sentence when I told you I'm working on it.
nice.
Three people at work today or last week said, "You're so patient. You're so patient." And I was like, ah, but I inside hit that compliment each time, although I felt good about it, but there was not a belief there because I was like, no, you're always working on patience. And then that made me upset. And I was like, you were self-critical again. Like yes,
Mm,
everybody's going to work on patience. There's not one person in this world that is patient 100% of the time. But then I decided, okay, then you're going to start to work on patience because you got to work on this belief system. If someone gives you the compliment and you can't take it, it's because you don't believe it yourself.
Yes.
Then after that, I started working on patience. So did I cut in front of people in the traffic? Nope. Jennifer waited behind the slow car, as slow as, you know why? I'm working on patience in every part of my life. The telemarketer that called, I answered because you know what? Who deserves patience more or
Yes.
to work on patience?
Well,
Yourself in a telemarketing call. So I tried so hard to be as patient as I possibly could. I will say at the end of the week, I think I had worked on it so much that it kind of just popped out because I did go over to the neighbor's house and another neighbor came over and I yelled at that neighbor. So I worked on it as
you're
much
like
as I
patience,
possibly could, and then it was like, and
patience.
I went home and went to bed after that. I was like, okay, you're done. You're done for the day.
I'm done for the week. Patience, patience barrel is full. Done. It was like that time, remember when Kurt got, we were trying to, I was learning to the bike ride with those pedals that click in. I didn't have like the regular bike pedals. And we were on the canal and I fell over. And I want y'all to know, this wasn't like years ago. This was like 6 months ago. So I don't want anybody to think like this was like, oh, years ago. It's not. So this happens. I fall, get up, pedal twice, fall. Like I'm like taking my ass down. On the fourth time, like I stand up and I shout, yes, in the at the top of my lungs, I don't want to learn anything new. So like that's like patience, self growth, and then all of a sudden when I'm tested, right? Like just middle finger to the world, to the universe. I'm done with new.
That's what I
Uh-uh.
did. I yelled, this is what I yelled. I am asking for what I need.
Okay. I'm gonna go to bed now.
Yeah, Jennifer needed to go to bed. Everybody has a limit.
We all have a limit. We have a barrel of limits, and we're done now. Thank you.
You can only fill the cup up so much.
That's right. That
Overflow.
is right, honey. That is really, really good. That makes me smile. I like the patience behind the slowest car, though.
And I didn't cut in as much. You know, and this is gonna make everybody mad, but I'm sorry, but I'm a merger in.
Yeah, it's LA traffic. It's a hard place to be. Nobody quite understands it unless you have lived in that traffic world where you're like, if you live in a city where like there is intense traffic like LA or San Francisco, there is a different, like you have your tourists that are driving, you have your people, but you have your new drivers, you have all this, but then you see like the expert, like drivers who have been driving this freeway every day, twice a day, for the last however many years. And you're like, they know which lane to be in at this time of day. They know then we're going to switch to this lane. You've got it. It's an art form.
Yes.
You want to get home or don't you?
Exactly. I remember when I came out here in 1996 to go to grad school, our fellow grad member, Forrest Robinson, he was in the car with me. He's like, Jennifer, you're not asking for permission to get into the other lane. That is notification that
Yeah.
you're going into the other lane. Otherwise, you're going to be in this lane forever. No one's
That's
going to give you
good.
that.
I'm notifying you that I'm headed into this lane. I'm notifying you right now.
You do it
That's
with grace. I do it with grace now. You know, before I used to be like, the who's this person? And when I'm behind the slow truck, I'm like, wow, I'm really, I'm killing this patience right now. I'm not upset. I
yeah,
have,
I'm
But
not angry. We can be here together.
in fact, I thought about the Thomas Guide. Remember when we first got here and had to
Well,
find everything in that big book of a Thomas Guide? And I don't even know north, south, east, west. Like, you know, it was, I'm very, like, from then to where I am, full of gratitude. Look what I've done. You had to flip through several parts of that book, remember? If you had to go to
yeah,
LA.
like and then remember, like, was it 2 weeks ago where I said to you, I go, so my son, like Bren, like phone dies and he's like, I don't know how to get to school any other way but this way. Like this is the way. The street was shut down. They were doing construction. He's like, I don't even know how to get to school. I don't have my phone and I do not know how to go a different way. And he was like, do you? And I was like, yes. And
Mhm.
he's like, but how do you? And I was like, you don't want to go because I'm old. But like, you're like, also too, like, you're like, well, we had to figure it out. Like we had to like if we couldn't read that Thomas guide, which frankly I could not. Like I was like, if you then I remember just being like, okay, if I pass this building, then I know that the next exit is this, and this. Like it was like, okay, we have to figure out how to navigate. We're very resourceful.
And frankly, my mama used to give directions like go pick something up at someone's house and where do they live? Oh, you go down this road and you turn right in the house that lawn isn't mowed, and then you go down three mailboxes, and then there's some flamingos, and then you turn right and left, and you're like, like
You
who's
can't
how am I
like
gonna get there? And then sure enough, there's the lawn that isn't mowed and the flamingos. So
yeah, you're like,
limited
thank you.
ourselves to like landscapes and
Yeah. Yeah, we would just look at like symbols, like we're like driving and going, okay, I know where this is. I know how far I have to get. It's this long. Yeah, it's a whole world. It's a whole exciting space.
the energy was crazy this week, wasn't it, Mahoney?
It was a crazy week. We had the blood orange moon. Is that right, Jen? The blood orange moon. That was the whoa baby.
Hmm. I felt it. Like I think that was what a lot of why I could not handle my patients anymore on Friday because there was a speaker that had loud music and then there was loud talking and then someone was talking over the loud talking and I could feel myself kind of like bubbling up. And I felt it yesterday too. Madeline, my daughter and I went to this like spooky event and there was like this aggressive music, but I couldn't hear the lyrics. Madeline was talking, she was driving, but I could just hear the beat. And I was like, after a while, I was like, you've got to turn this music off. Like, I need something else. Like, it's like I'm feeling like all like
It's too much.
too much.
Yesterday, oh my goodness, yesterday was a good day. So me and Rose went and got our hair did. Rose, she's the full pink purple extravaganza.
Yes.
We walk up to the we walk up to the hair salon, Jen, and there's a big old sign. And it says, it's like a handwritten sign, and it says free plants. Oh, yes, please. So I take Rose in. Hot Chelsea says I'm gonna do Rose first. I'm gonna start her. I was like, great. I was like hyped up. I was like free plants. Like I could barely focus. Like I was rocketing. So Jen, I'm not as excited about these free plants as I am about the pots. Pots are expensive, and I'm gonna get me some pots. The plants, whatever.
We're gonna get a pottery wheel. We need to make our own pots, Mahoney.
I love this. So
Yes.
I examine the plants. Jen, they're cactuses. I'm not going to lie to you. They are not the plants I thought they were. They are like the same cactus that somebody just kept growing and growing and they put it in another pot and they'd be like, fuck it. Now we got another cactus. So it's just like subpar pots, a few great pots with the same sad cactus that hasn't really had a lot of water. Like it's like, but it's a cactus, so it's making it. So I decide I'm like, nope, I'm taking this one pot. This is a good pot, a solid pot. I can paint this pot. I'm taking this pot. I'm like, I'm not gonna dump the cactus onto the ground. It seems rude to the cactus. And also too, like the people who put out the sign, like what if they're looking out their window, drinking their coffee, and they're like, feeling proud, free plants, look what we're doing for the universe. And then they see like me. Like that seems like crappy. So I'm like, I got you. I'll take this plant. I carry the plant, feels good. And then I'm like, I feel kind of pokey, like this something's bothering me. I don't think about it. Rose and I go and have a great day. We walk through the farmer's market. She changes out a few piercings at the place. They recognize her. We get home. My man's like, can we maybe? Mm, mm, mm. I was like, oh, yeah, thank you. It must be my new hair. So there we go from there. Then, Jennifer, I pick up the plant, take it out of the car, and put it in. And then I'm like, these prickle things are still everywhere. I'm like, I can feel them, like in little spots on my hands.
Oh.
Kirk then like at 9 o'clock at night goes, the prickles are everywhere. They're all over me. I go, it's not possible. It's not possible. How would I transfer him to you? And he goes, you know how. Like as if during our passionate moment, I was transferring these micro prickles to him. So I'm like, no, you're full of it. Stop it right now. There are no prickles on you. Yes, they're everywhere. They're all over me. I'm like, knock it off. Jen, sure enough, this morning he wakes up and he goes, there's something on my hand. So I like put on my readers. I look at his hand. He goes, it's right there. It's a prickle. It's on his hand. How did I give it to him? Like, what?
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell me that. Remember the spider and the cactus? The lady that took the cactus home. Remember that story? I don't know who said it, but she said took this cactus from the desert or something and she brought it home and then she put it in the living room and then she
Oh,
woke up and it had exploded because it had
no,
spiders
no.
all inside it.
I can't handle that. I can't handle that. You know what else? Speaking of spiders, or speaking of spiders, did you know that the reason when you harvest cranberries, the reason that it's such an expensive job is not that they pour the cranberries into the water, they flood the field, then all the cranberries rise to the top, and they're gathering the cranberries. And there's like wolf spiders. So they're all the wolf spiders are coming out. So you, as the cranberry gatherer or harvester, have to be able to handle and navigate all the wolf spiders that come with the cranberries. So,
Ugh.
number one, I'm not raising cactuses. And number two, I'm not signing up to be a cranberry harvester.
Oh.
And
Are wolf
number three,
spiders
yes,
poisonous?
no, they're not poisonous. They're just everywhere.
No. Mm-mm.
I think what we are signing up for is to make our own pottery. So, this whole conversation, don't you worry, we've decided we're probably going to be pottery experts now.
Listen, I love my pottery class. I'm gonna have the personal assistant sign up for more pottery classes, but I
Ooh.
really feel like a pottery wheel is needed.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
But you have to be careful because I've watched so much pottery wheel on TikTok that now they give me the outtakes and I can see this happening. One girl got her hair wound up, one girl got her shirt and it flies off, or it flies off and hits somebody. So there will
Okay.
be some, it is a dangerous job. It's a
It's
dangerous
You're not
occupation.
harvesting cranberries, but it's still
No,
intense.
it's not harvesting cranberries.
But it's still an intense piece. That's good to know.
What are you going to do the rest of the day?
Thank you for asking. I after this, I'm going to a brewery. It's
Yes.
my friend's birthday, so we're gonna drink a few beers and celebrate.
I love this.
I'm really excited about that. The Denver Broncos are playing, so that's a big deal. And then I'm memorizing lines for a play right now, so I'm trying to get a few more pages in before Monday.
There's nothing better than Mahoney memorizing lines. It's all those years that we spent that I lived with you. Or even when we went out to Bowl Springs on vacation and you were out on the little balcony.
Yes.
You were threatening somebody, and I told you, listen, you can't just keep threatening somebody at 6 o'clock in the morning on the balcony of the hotel. People will call us.
What will people say? I know Kirk said I might be a little difficult. I feel like I've grown a little bit, but Kirk was like, it's not his thing. So Rosebud was like feeling it with all of her pink and purple self yesterday with the haircut, and she came outside and she goes, "What you doing?" And I go, "I'm working on lines," and she goes, "I'll help you." And so she was real cute with it. And I go, "Oh, we can skip that page." And she goes, "Why are we skipping that page?" And I go, "I don't know it yet." And she goes, "Well, let's learn it." And I
Nice.
was like, "Okay."
I will say
Okay.
that when I got my hearing tested and I read all the little things uh out loud afterwards, the hearing technician said, "Thank you for your engagement. I've never had anybody in the tests repeat the words with such passion and
Oh,
enthusiasm."
the actress, the actress is like if the sentence, hold on, let me grab something. Like if the sentence like from is like, "Of course, how could you not?" Like I could see like most people be like, "Of course, how can you not?" And then you're like, "Of course, how can you not?" And he's like, he's listening. He's like, "Oh, I didn't realize that sentence was so passionate."
I appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, thank you. I'm not a boring reader. I say my
Right.
stuff with enthusiasm. And at work, I have this little love bug that we're working on potty training. And so I sing little songs, but I make them up. But I make them up to like songs that I know. Whatever song is stuck in my head. So last week, Staying Alive was stuck in my head. Staying alive, staying alive. Ooh, 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 staying alive. I'm like going to the potty, going to the potty. Ooh, 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 going to the potty, going to the potty. And then afterwards, I said, "We did it. We did it. Ooh, 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 we did it." She's bouncing along. So it's whatever song. I'm hoping to God no sad song ever goes in there because how am I going to replace the lyrics for that one?
Dan, you know what terrible song has been in my head for the last couple, I'd say a good week. So we did auditions for musical I'm doing movement for, and somebody sang from Jesus Christ Superstar, "I Don't Know How to Love Him." So over, "I don't know how to love him." But it's not a good version. Like in my head, it's kind of like a tone deaf version is in my head. And then I'm like, that's enough. Like I have to keep telling myself that we're done.
Well, you know what Michelle said to me last week? She was like, I told my mom that ever since your new hearing aids, like you really can, you're not so tone deaf and you can hear the lyrics.
Thank you.
In my head, I was like, hmm. I go, thanks. I appreciate that. She was like, yeah, I feel bad for all the times that I made fun of you because you didn't know the words because I think that you really just didn't hear them. And I was like, thanks. I appreciate that. But in my mind, I'm like, tone deaf. I always think that I'm matching the tone. So I guess all this time I've been singing to the top of my lungs.
Jen, I know I don't. Do you remember that? Do you remember that time I got cast in that band way back in the day?
The Valkyrie band?
Well, different band, but thank you. Similar. Similar. The Valkyrie band
The one
was
where you were
a
more
video.
are the fur.
It was a musical video that they had us dress like Valkyries, and I had to pretend to play the piano in a like Flintstones type of way. But this band was like I auditioned for like some kind of dance thing, and then the like producers or whoever were doing were like, "You girls dance so well." Some people must have sang. They were like, "We're gonna form a girl band," and I was like, "Sweet, yes, and then like I'm a dancer, and then pretty soon, like they're like, "Okay, we're gonna meet next week, and we're gonna just run on the piano. We're gonna sing," and I was like, "I don't." I don't think I do sing. And here's the thing. And
See,
number one,
I don't think that I do sing.
I don't think, yeah, right. I don't think, what does that mean? It's like, I know how to sing, but I have never cared that there was a tone to match. I'm so proud that
Yeah,
I
me
know the words and I know the rhythm that it does not occur to me that my voice,
too.
like I see other people do it, but it didn't ever occur to me that I should try to match the sound that I'm hearing. I'm just singing.
Mhm.
And so then we're around the piano, and I'm like, hmm. So then I'm bringing my volume down real low because if I can be quiet, then maybe they won't notice that it has never occurred to my ears that I should be trying to match anything.
Mhm.
So the tone, like I was just like, I can't love this song and sing out. Like I want to sing out if I'm trying to match the way the sound is.
No, you're never going to match it that way. You might as well forget it. It's not
Yeah.
matched because you're too worried about it. You're not in flow.
No, I just gotta dance it out and sing out loud and proud. I'm not gonna be able to sing the song as quietly. So needless to say, Jen, the band didn't work out. At some point,
The
somebody was like,
Valkyrie thing. Remember, I was like, Shannon, there are some things that you can say no to. Like, you have to.
you don't have to say, hey, we're going to form a band. And I go, great, I'm in. And then, like, pretty soon every weekend, I'm like going to these dance things. I'm doing like so many crazy things. I'm excited about singing loud and proud with you, not being concerned if we are singing anything we want.
That's right.
We're also really good at changing the words.
I love changing the words. There's no other way.
Let's change all the words to the song.
That what I'm learning is that we could really fit in elementary because everything is a call and response, right? You can do anything with call and response. I'm like, put your hand on your head, or they put their hand on their head. I'm like, this is my
Mm.
thinking mind. I say, this is my thinking mind. They say, this is my thinking mind. You just do everything and they call and response it.
I felt like that was the only way I could teach like dance class to the littles. Like you just have to be able to go like everybody stand up, and then they would all stand up, and I'd go if they started to get wiggly, and they're kind of like I'd be like everybody sit down, and then they would all sit down, and I'd go stand up, and they'd stand up, and I'd go look sad, and then they would all look sad, like I would just keep changing it, and then I'd be like okay, let's get back to our class. But
Mhm.
you're right, they refocus really if you use those techniques, they refocus really quickly.
And we would too. Adults should use more of those techniques,
Yeah.
right? How happy we would be if we all like redirected our focus every little bit.
Yeah, even if it's just like we're all going to go into a Zoom kaga and we're going to have a virtual dance party real quick. We're going to shake it off.
It's hard to do. Then that vulnerability comes in, and you're like, lady, I'm not shaking a thing off.
Not for you. Well, what I think we should do is I'm going to tell you, I wanted to share with you what my focus is going to be this week.
Great.
going ahead so that when we connect next week, here is what my focus is this week. Still continuing to think about and observing who, not worrying about everybody else's business, but staying on Shannon. But I also discovered this week that I'm a real proponent of feedback being a loop in the workplace. Feedback, feedback, feedback. But when I had to share my feedback, when somebody was like, Shannon, talk to me, I was like, I didn't trust that my feedback was safe.
Ah.
Isn't that interesting? Like all of a sudden I was like, I feel like I can coach on feedback. So let me be really clear. Coaching on feedback all week long. Shannon is a coaching proponent of feedback. Feedback is a loop. We body of feedback, positive, negative. And then it was time for me to give feedback. And I was like, I don't trust my feedback is safe.
Hmm.
And I was like, uh-huh. So I was like, well, how can you coach on it? How can you talk about it if you don't truly believe if feedback is safe, then that means you're not walking the walk, talking the talk. So I was like, okay. So I am working on that fear. That's what I'm working on this week. And then not absorbing other people's energy, which is a continuous work in progress.
That is so funny because Shannon, I too had an epiphany about a suspicious mind. It says on my journal, I was like, oh my God, I have a suspicious mind. So what I discovered was I create answers when I don't have answers, when I'm in uncertainty. My mind creates the answers when there is a lack of answers, and it tends to be in a suspicious nature. Um, it's like I want to call it like a tangled like yarn energy kind of, that's the visual that I've seen in my head. Like it's a tangled, like my keys and my necklaces were all tangled, and I was like, this is a tangled mess that's in here. And it's because my mind needed the answers, and so I create answers, and it always leads to some type of suspicion, which of course, is that mirror reflecting back at me that I too am not feeling.
I love that you said that. I just wrote it down like while you were talking, like my head went down and I was like, I love the way you articulated that suspicious mind. And I put in parentheses tangled yarn. And you're
Yes.
right, the mind creating like suspicion, where instead of going, yes, I'm open to the feedback, going, yes, but what are you going to do with it? I'm suspicious about it. Like I don't trust it. And in that distrust, then I make up stories or I withhold. And you can see how this it could be problematic or challenging in personal relationships and working relationships everywhere, not trusting the ground you walk on is safe, right? Like it's feedback is that big where you're like, I don't trust. If I don't trust I'm in a safe space, then even to go deeper, Jen, that means
You don't
that
trust.
I'm presenting another face. I'm presenting as somebody else because I don't trust the feedback is going to be reciprocated, which means I don't trust you're going to like me, which means so this face that I'm presenting to the world is not actually me, right? Because I don't believe anything's really safe. So I was like, okay, this is a big one. And I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
coaching on feedback, but not living in the space of feedback and how I'm showing up in different relationships is really interesting to observe. But you're right, it's that tangled yarn, tangled chains, like it's all bundled together. It's a knotted mess.
When there's a lack of answers, my suspicious mind gets started, and then that suspicion leads to judgment. And then that judgment, I'm either blaming someone else. That's the pattern that I saw, that suspicious to judgment, and judgment is contagious. If
Mhm.
you're a leader, it's really hard. I find because there is suspicious minds in everybody when there's a lack of answers. So if you're leading and you have all of these people coming and they have a lack of answers, and so their suspicious minds are overthinking and it leads to judgment. There's a lot of little judgment situations you're trying to handle at the same time, and it's like planting those little seeds. So if you're like us and we absorb that energy, I'm absorbing that. And then I too am leading a suspicious mind, which is
Mhm.
planting little seeds. So I too am going to be on top of that thought pattern this week too. Let's see what
See how we will visit. Let's
bites.
visit next week and kind of go, okay. But I love that that's our focus. And then I love too that even like I don't want to not touch on the fact that even like you had a physical reaction when we talked about it. Like this is important to us right now because it's like, okay, we're navigating something really big.
Thank you, my friend, for this conversation. I appreciate you.
I love you so much. You're amazing. I'm gonna go rock a birthday party right now. I hope you go do something great.
I will.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you later.
Love
Love
you, honey. Bye.